Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are here to introduce the course ARCH370 Building Systems. So we are going to speak about building systems. So what are building systems? They are the devices, the ducts, the pipes that can create comfort within a building. What kind of building systems are we talking about? Okay, so first, probably the most important one is the heating, cooling, and ventilation. I'm sure you have heard the expression or HVAC. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So we have to provide a building with comfort. And comfort, there are many factors affecting comfort in buildings, but there are two main factors. One of them is the temperature, and the other one is the relative humidity. The temperature, we need a comfortable temperature throughout the year. We have cold winters, we have hot summers, but the temperature within the building is steady, kind of, throughout the year. And then the ventilation is related to the fresh air. We need to breathe fresh, healthy air. And we need a system that takes the exhausted air we have in buildings, especially when there are a lot of people, and we have to introduce fresh air from outside to the building. So this is the concept of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. What have we done, we as human beings, to provide buildings with comfort? Most of buildings now run on electricity, but we didn't have electricity before the 19th century. So before that, human beings burned things, and by burning things, they created heat. Creating cold, it's much more difficult, and we need electricity to do that. But anyway, basically most of what we have done throughout the history is to burn things. We burn wood, coal, or anything that, any fuel. Since the early 20th century, we have been burning fuels, oil, gas, gasoline, and throughout the 20th century we have had a lot of issues, especially with gas emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. And well, we are here today and we are all worried, we are all concerned about the global warming, the climate change, and this is because we have burned a lot of things, especially over the last 100 years. So the goal of this course is not to create comfort, but we have to create a sustainable comfort. So we have to apply the concepts that we learned in sustainable design. We have to apply those concepts to design buildings, and by designing good buildings, we can cut down on greenhouse gas emissions. So this is the goal of this course, and this is the goal of this first part of the course that will be about heating, cooling, and ventilation systems. The second part is about ducts, and this is related to heating, cooling, and ventilation. Especially it's related to ventilation, because we need to conduct the air, that fresh air that we need, from somewhere outside to the space we're living in. And we need ducts, we need air ducts, and we need grills. Here you can see this is the duct, and this is the grill. So the air goes through this element and it goes out through the grill. And then we can, if we have this air at the right temperature, we can have fresh air so that we can breathe, and we can have the right temperature in the building. So this is about ventilation, and ducts are really big. So we have to get to know how to dimension those ducts, because if we don't dimension the ducts properly, we will lose a lot of space. And this is not a good design, architectural design, if we lose a lot of space for ducts. So we need to dimension ducts. At the same time, we have to share comfort in buildings. So we have to provide the building with the right amount of fresh air that we need. Okay, so we have to deal with these two concepts. We need fresh air, and we need the right amount of fresh air, but at the same time we need to reduce the size of ducts. The third part of the build of this course will be about piping systems. So we need pipes. Usually we have ducts for air, we have pipes for water and other fluids. We have water in building. We have cold water. We have cold water. Most of our heating systems run on water, so we need hot water to heat up things with radiators, with radiant floors. So we need to bring the water from the boiler to the space we are living, the office, our houses, the classroom, whatever. We need those pipes. And again, we need to dimension those pipes because we don't have to lose a lot of space by designing thick pipes. We need to reduce the size of those pipes. What else do we have? We have the drainage system. This is not the most beautiful thing on earth, but we need it. So we need to provide the building with air and water, but we have to get rid of things that we have used, basically through the water. So we need to provide building with water, and then we need to take this water, and we need to take this water out of the building. And this is the drainage system. And we have to hide it. Usually we don't see this drainage system. We need to dimension it, and we need to place the pipes, and we need to place the vertical stacks, and we need to place the horizontal pipes on the right place. And finally, we have electrical systems. So electrical systems, everything runs on electricity now. Nowadays, we can run a building on electricity, even for heating and cooling and ventilation. All devices and all appliances run on electricity. So we need to provide the building with this electricity we need. How can we do it? Again, we can bring the electricity from a power plant outside the city, and then through wires we can provide the building with that electricity. Or we can generate our own electricity in our building. And this is more interesting because now we have the technology to do that. So we have PV arrays. You see that this roof is made of PV arrays. We have a PV array in our building, the TDS building. So if you are in campus, you can walk and you can see that we have a roof and we have a PV array in our building. So we can generate our own electricity. And that's very interesting from the sustainable point of view, because we are not burning fuel to generate electricity, and we are not losing that electricity in the transportation. So generating our own electricity in our building, it's something very interesting. So basically we have heating, ventilation and cooling systems, we have ducts, we have a piping system, we have the drainage, and finally we have electrical systems. So we have to get to know all these systems because basically we have to introduce and we have to integrate all these systems in our design. And I'm showing you some examples of what we are going to do at the end of the course. So don't panic, this is not the thing that you have to do next week. But by the end of the course you will have to be able to do something like that, and even looking at something like this, you will have to be able to understand what we are looking at. So this is the schematics. So before having a building design, we have an abstract representation of all the systems, and we have arrows, we have lines and arrows connecting things. So this is the first thing we have to understand. We have to start creating schematics. We don't know the building, but we know that there are going to be boreholes, domestic hot water tanks, and exhaust for the ventilation. Okay, so we have all the systems here and we have to connect them. Then the next step is to integrate those systems in the actual building. So here we have a building, we have a basement, and we have 2 floors. This is an office building, and then we have the roof. Usually, most of those systems are either on the basement or on the roof. And this is the generation. So we generate the energy that we need for our building, either on the basement or on the roof. And then here in the office space or in the living space, we just have grills. We don't have those machines that are burning things and are creating a lot of noise. No, here everything's clean, and we don't have the issues of the generating system. So we have to hide them. On this picture, the last one was a section. This is a 3D view. So on this 3D view, we can see that we have systems here, we have arrows, and it's not only the building systems itself. We have to go back to sustainable design, and we have to make the most of natural resources. Remember that we have sun, we have fresh air for ventilation. Okay, so everything has to be integrated in the design. The building systems, but the sustainable strategies that we learned last year and that you should remember. So that's another example. So here we have on the roof, we have the generator, the energy generating devices, and here we have ducts going through the building to provide that building with fresh air at the right temperature. And finally, we have to select the devices. It's not only designing, but we have to go to commercial catalogs, and then we have to select the right device that we are going to use. We have radiators, heat pumps, fan coils, split units. We have a lot of things that we will learn over the next few weeks, and we will have to select the right devices, because sustainable buildings is about sustainable design. So first, we need a good design. Second, we need to calculate. We have to make calculations, so we have to save energy. And finally, we have to select the right device. So if we are able to design a building with these 3 components, sustainable design, the right calculation, and the right selection of devices, we are close to having a sustainable building. What are we going to use? We're going to use basic tools. We're going to use Excel files. We're going to use PowerPoint, PDF, and my plan is that we are going to design those systems using Revit. I know that some of you can use Revit because you have taken CAD2. But if you haven't taken CAD2, don't worry, because we're not going to ask for modeling skills in this course. We're just going to learn the systems, because Revit has a plugin or it has a module that we can use to design building systems. So we are going to learn that module from scratch. So we are not going to model outstanding buildings, but we are going to learn how to use the building, the systems module, the mechanical systems module. So you all have access to Revit. So make sure that by the 2nd or 3rd week of the course, you have Revit installed in your PC or in your computer, or you have access to the computer lab in the TDS building. And I will show you how to use Revit. We will start with basic, simple models, and then at the end we will end up making good stuff. Okay, that's all for now.